So, yeah, you're going to pay the price somehow. Most people think in terms of the cost, the financial cost of something. Like I had a father-in-law who retired young. He was a tailor. He retired probably at age 50. You know, he's not wealthy, but he retired, moved to the south of Spain, had a top level in a condominium and a high-rise and view of the ocean. You know, he had what he wanted. He's the most frugal man I've ever met. And we would go, you know, this is the south of Spain, and there's a little town called Nerja that I like. It was an old fishing village, had a wall around it at one time, and it's sort of a touristy place. Well, you go to this little town, and it's developed, and right outside of what used to be the walled part of the city, there's a big parking lot. And you got to pay to get in the parking lot. Now, it's Spain. It probably cost $2 for 3 hours, something like that. Not much by what we would say. He will not park there. He'll drive around and around the outside neighborhood trying to find a parking spot. And, you know, I've been with him when he parked like 3/4 of a mile away. And then we walk 3/4 of a mile to get to the city, you know. So he might not be paying a price $2 or $2, you know, but he's paying another price, you know, the inconvenience, the long walk, the less time to enjoy the city, you know. So there's always some price to pay, you know. There is no free lunch. You might think there is, but no. You might see somebody who thinks maybe they won the lottery, but you read their stories, you know, they blow through, you know, $200 million in a year and a half. And then they're, you know, and their family leaves them, and, you know, I mean, the price isn't always negative or painful, but there is a price, you know. So which price do you want to pay? And if all you think of is, you know, the monetary price, or some people say, I don't have time. So they don't choose into what they really want because they don't have time. Well, they could pay the price by giving themselves more time, because they do it. You know, everybody's got 24 hours a day. Everybody has time. When they say I don't have time, what they're really saying, unconsciously, is I haven't given this enough priority. You know, I've got a guy, I'm working with a group of 12 right now. Long story, but I'm fascinated with the number 12. And so I've got 12 people working for 12 months, 12 weeks, and we're doing things around 12. And this morning, we just met this weekly meeting this morning, and this morning a guy was saying, and he's a significant international businessman. He's the president of an international company. And he said, I'm going to miss the meeting this morning. I won't have time to come to the meeting because I've got a business meeting I got to go to. He said, so I don't have time. I won't have time to come. And you know, I'm not saying his name. You know, I say, well, John, we haven't finished this conversation, but here's where it will go. John, you do have time. No, you know how busy I am. And I said, sure, I know how busy you are. You have the same amount of time I did. Oh, no, you know. And I said, well, how many hours a day do you have? 24 hours. So do I. How many hours do you sleep a night? Oh, gosh, 6 would be a good night. Me too. You know, how many hours do you spend eating? You know. So go through things that everybody chooses. They choose to sleep. They choose to eat. You know. And okay, now the other things you've chosen into, like you chose to go to that meeting. No, I have to go to the meeting. What would happen if you didn't? Well, you know, and he hadn't thought of that. I said, well, you're the president. They're going to fire you? You know, they're going to judge you? What's going to happen? You know, so we eventually get down to what's important to you. You joined this group. You paid me money to guide you to some places you said you wanted to go that you're not yet. And you're not going to get there by doing what you always did. You're going to get there by going into your resistance and through it. You're going to go into some discomfort, some unfamiliarity. And this is an example. I'm asking you to show up for 2 hours. And if you're important to you, you know, are you? And he said, well, I'm learning that. He said, yeah, I've had to take care of other people first. And I said, what if you took care of yourself first? Well, you know, but I got family, I got to earn money, I got a staff, I got all this. Yeah, well, could you put yourself first once in a while? Well, I don't know. So we talk about that. Eventually, if people are smart enough, and almost everybody is, you realize that what you thought you had to do is actually a choice. You chose B instead of A. How did you choose that? Well, you did it unconsciously based on some false belief or fear about what might happen if you didn't go to the business meeting, for example. But what would happen? You don't know. What really is most important to you? Like, is taking some time for your own self-development, get some peace of mind, get rid of the stress you're experiencing. Is that important? Yeah, it's important. Is that important enough to renegotiate that business meeting, the time for that? Now, most people don't think about this, but if you work with them, they can get to the point where they realize, yeah, I do have time. I just haven't put my priorities in order. I'm not making my choices according to my true priority. What are my true priorities? Most people don't look at that. What really is important to me? And there's a price to pay, for sure. Like if I choose, there's some things like this is, I don't know, F it, controversial, but when COVID hit, I knew it was a fraud. I can give you all the reasons, and now the evidence is out that it wasn't any worse than a bad flu, and in fact, it's worse than that because unintended consequences that happen. But I knew it was off. And so I said, I am not going to wear a mask. I know that's not healthy. I know quite a bit about health. I have 5 doctor clients, and I checked with all of them. Every one of them said, don't wear the mask. Don't worry about distancing. Don't quarantine. All this night, I said, okay, I'm not. Well, I lost a client because I wouldn't wear a mask. One of my best friends got angry with me. Thought I was being irresponsible. We didn't have to. See, here's a choice, didn't have to. We moved. We were in Ojai, California, loved Ojai, and my son at the time was 5.5. And there's no way I was going to have him grow up not playing, not being a child. I mean, I know enough about child psychology to know this is going to be damaging. He's got to play with other kids. You can't keep kids distancing 6 feet from each other, wearing a mask behind a plexiglass thing, and staying in a 6-foot circle on the playground. That is going to do irreparable damage. And now we know it has. Like IQ tests are dropping, and I could go on and on about the unintended consequences that now are coming out through the studies. But I knew that from the beginning. Well, the price I paid, so we moved, found a place where we could go, where there was a school where kids weren't wearing masks, and the teachers supported all the stuff I support. And so he's had a normal childhood. We moved away from Ojai. I didn't really want to move from Ojai. But the price to pay, I mean, first of all, I paid a price by moving out of where we loved living. Worse than that for me is the price my son would pay if we stayed there. So far, he's had a good childhood, normal. We are in a neighborhood with kids to play with, and a school where he doesn't have to wear a mask, and then we started homeschooling, and there's a price to pay for that. That he's learning more than the school could teach him. They test him, and he's already jumped a grade ahead. But part of the price is he doesn't get the full socializing that kids need, that they get in school. Right now I'm trying to figure out how can he play team sports. Because the schools, that's usually where kids get that. Well, we're going to have to find something besides that. So there's a price to pay. You make a choice, and hopefully you make your choice according to what's most important to you, what's your priority, and then there'll be a price to pay. And most people acquiesce. Acquiesce means you go along with it even though you don't agree. And this COVID is full of that example. All the doctors who knew that the mandates, the health mandates weren't healthy, but wouldn't speak up. Why? They're afraid the hospital wouldn't let them practice there anymore, or they'd kicked out of their clinic or something. Well, they made a choice, against what they knew would be healthier for their own self-preservation. That's understandable. it takes a lot of courage, to stand up against the mass, to speak out. But now more and more of them are. But that's life. You're not going to always be popular.